us? Of course you can.
Taika, everyone calls him the signature director.
When I was your age, I had an imaginary friend. Got me in so much trouble.
I was very clear with him in the start. I said, the book is mine, but the film has to be yours. You have to make it into yours. I'm Christine Lunens, and I'm the author of Caging Skies. Caging Skies is about a boy who's in the Hitler Youth, and he dreams of being in Adolf Hitler's personal guard, which is very elitist.
Today you boys will be involved in such activities as war games, ambush techniques, and blowing stuff up.
He actually discovers that his mother's hiding a Jewish girl in the closet.
You know what I am? Say, a Jew. Gesundheit.
And that's what's going to challenge all of his beliefs.
She doesn't seem like a bad person.
Taika and I do think we belong to the same artistic family in that we both love a fine balance between humor and comedy.
Oh, God.
Comedy, for a film, it made it engaging for people. I'm not saying everybody's going to absolutely love it. I think it'll have some controversy. I think most people will understand it. There'll be some people who won't, but that's what always makes art very interesting. I'd seen a documentary way back in the 90s, and it spoke of New Zealand as an uninhabited place with hardly electricity and hardly populated and these things. And I thought, oh, I'd be ready for that. If sometimes I feel like my head is completely clouded over because I've done so much writing that day, I just go walk along the beach. You know, I have the winds of the sea, I take a swim, and I feel like I've just erased everything. I don't even remember what I wrote again, which is helpful. That little dog was very nervous, kept shaking and nearly weed on me. And I had to act like I'm not noticing it. When I look at that, I think it's funny, it's comical, almost as if I was playing maybe some kind of character. But even then, I'd say you don't get any kind of deep satisfaction saying, I looked great in that. When I began to write, I knew that was it. My grandfather had told me at the time, he had always told me, you're going to be a writer one day. And when I began writing, it just felt completely right on a very deep level. All these memories from my grandparents' generation, from my parents' generation, really horrific memories, they become part of my memory. I think Caging Skies was one way to try to put some of these images on paper. My mother, who was in South Italy when during the war, she told me of women in the village who were hung because they were, resistance, and the Nazis would actually hang people in a way so that they would twitch and die the slowest possible so that most people could see them suffering. Actually, he never got over his trauma because what happens is he had to actually use his hands, which he usually used to make art, and he had to make ammunition, and he had to make things that he knew were going to kill the people who were on his side. And that's a terrible feeling, to have to, the guilt, knowing everything you're making could actually harm someone, and he had a lot of imagination, always wondering where that would go. So when the war was over, he was quite traumatized, and then after he started to always do paintings in metal. I guess that was his way of trying to get it off his chest, because he wanted to use metal not as a thing of war, but as a thing of peace. Germany, a lot of what happened was just simply economical. When people have known something that was once better, and then they start to, let's say, know an economy which is more stretched, that's when people start to feel fear, and then fear leads to anger. Today we're going backwards. I think no one can deny that. I hear even political leaders use, again, those same words, infestation, or just show no respect for other people. I'd much rather my book was just seen as a piece of historical fiction of something that happened long ago than to say, actually, it's very relevant to what's happening today, and my children and their friends and all of them, this is now a kind of new challenge people are going to have to deal with.